Welcome to Conversations Different, a podcast from the Santa Fe New Mexican about interesting people, places, and issues of northern New Mexico. This week, we are talking to Public Education Department Secretary Mariana Padilla. She is going to tell us about advancements New Mexico children are making in reading, and specifically about what's happening this summer. That's right. Instead of swimming all the time, they can read too. So let's welcome Secretary.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I was really excited to read about the summer reading programs because I know the research shows that so many children lose basically academic progress over the summer. So talk about what New Mexico is doing and why it's important.
Well, this summer's our third year hosting a free summer tutoring program. And it started focused on reading, but we this year are also adding math because we have a lot of work to do with our math proficiency as well. So this is a free program offered by the state of New Mexico for all New Mexico students, pre-K through 8th grade. And it's offered in various localized program sites. So we work with schools from around the states, with childcare, programs and providers, with private partners, and it could even be other community-based partners that sponsor program sites to offer tutoring. So this is high-impact tutoring in small groups for students.
That makes it basically that you're going out to where the student is.
That's right. That's exactly what we're doing. Yeah. So we work to create programs in communities that are accessible to students. We also partner with programs to braid funding so that they can hopefully provide full day programming, because we know for families, working families or parents who are in school themselves, they need full day options. So the state pays for 4 hours of programming, most of which is literacy based. And then, like I said, we're adding about an hour component of math instruction as well. And so this is in small group settings for 4 students to 1 instructor. It's by grade level. So students are with their peers by grade level receiving instruction.
Now, what made New Mexico decide that they needed to start taking up some of the summer months to basically improve upon literacy?
Well, one thing is something you mentioned, which is summer slide. It's something that everyone sees and experiences during the summer months. If there are no opportunity for academic instruction, students oftentimes slip back. They lose gain in their proficiency, really in all content areas. And so this summer slide is something that we knew that we wanted to be able to address. And then we also know the impact of tutoring. Tutoring can help students advance proficiency very quickly in a short period of time. So as we work to build our proficiency levels for students, something that we've been very focused on in New Mexico, and in particular with the impacts of the pandemic, we've been working to really expand our tutoring options, both during the school day. So this is something the state also funds, is during the school day, small group tutoring instruction, which also has a huge, huge impact in improving student proficiency, again, in a short period of time, and then also in the summer. We've been working with schools, particularly this year, to help us identify students that they have already identified in their schools as needing extra support. So we've asked them during parent-teacher conferences to bring up our summer program to families and try and get them to enroll at this point. Enrollment is open. We've been recruiting students, and we want to make sure that those students that do need that extra support, that we're offering it, but it's really an option for parents to opt in. They don't have to have a school referral. If they are looking for academic programming for their child or children in the summer, this is available to them. There's no eligibility requirements of any kind.
Nice. So it doesn't mean that you're going to go to, let's say, a school and spend all day reading. There's lots of fun in all of these different summer programs. This would just be one component, but the component means that you're not going to lose what progress you made the year before.
That's right, and gain in your proficiency. Our summer reading program has resulted in not only avoiding that summer slide, they're actually advancing above that. So they're coming in at the beginning of the school year far above their peers. And so we really want this for all of our students, so that there's not all of that reteaching that's done. For students to get them back to where they were at the end of the school year, that they're ready to come in, not only not having lost that proficiency, but that they're actually further ahead, and in some cases grade levels ahead from where they ended in the previous school year.
That's exciting, and I think it kind of counters the narrative that we always hear in New Mexico: we're last in everything, because obviously our proficiency rates in literacy and math have not been as good as parents or community members wanted, but the state is making some strides in changing that.
Absolutely. So in New Mexico, we really we're all in structured literacy. As of 2020 was like our first rollout of our trainings for our educators, of course, starting in elementary school. And so we've now trained all of our elementary school educators, pre-K through fifth grade, and now are beginning to train our middle school teachers as well in structured literacy. And so this is really evidence-based, science-based instruction on how you teach reading. Learning to speak is different than learning to read. And so this is really about giving kids the skills, decoding skills to learn to read the written language. And it's not English-based. Structured literacy is used around the world and is used for many different languages.
Yeah. And I think it's important to also, as you do that, emphasize the comprehension of words, because I know a lot of people who seemingly read fine, but they have no idea what they read. And I know that's been a problem. When you're taking a reading test, you have to show that you understood the material.
That's right. So structured literacy is really a sequenced approach. So it really starts first with recognizing all of the sounds in a specific language. So the English language has 44 different speech sounds. It's a very complicated language to learn. So you have to first learn all of those speech sounds. Then you learn your letters, right? You learn print concepts like capitals and lowercase letters and punctuation and the parts of a book. You learn phonics and word recognition. So you put those sounds together to read words. And then fluency puts it all together to read sentences. And then, of course, with building on that is building vocabulary and building comprehension. And so this is all a very explicit way to build on those concepts to teach reading. And that's what structured literacy is. That sounds amazing. And on that note, we'll take a quick break and be back in a moment with more Conversations Different.
We make renewable doable. We're positive energy solar for a cleaner, brighter future for all. Positive energy's the right call. Feel good about your energy bill. Help save the planet too. Your trusted solar company, working hard for you. Generate positive energy. Positive energy solar.
We are back with Cabinet Secretary Mariana Padilla talking about reading, summer reading programs. And obviously, kids are going to learn a lot at school, but I'm sure the schools and the education department have some ideas for how parents can support their learning at home. What ideas should parents take to heart so that they can help kids maybe read a book instead of watching television or a screen?
Well, there's so many opportunities that parents and other adults in a child's life have to teach reading. And it could be as simple as being in a grocery store and pointing out words, helping sound out words, reading signs as you're driving along a road. All of those things are things that help develop literacy and those foundational skills. Also, just having conversations is really important, talking with really young children. And then, of course, reading. Any opportunities you have to read with your child, but also model reading. Kids need to see other people reading. And I think this is particularly more challenging today because so much of what we get is not necessarily reading print material. And so it's really important to also do that and to really encourage a love of reading in the various forms. And then, like I said, just talking, having conversations, exposure to vocabulary is really important. And this should be done in all of the languages that we have in the state of New Mexico. So we want students to learn how to read in their home language, because when they're proficient in their home language, it's so much easier to build up proficiency in English. And so whatever language is spoken or languages are spoken at home, that's what we're really supporting for our students to get exposed to.
Yeah, and that makes it not necessarily more complicated, but it sure opens up possibilities for kids. I know how exciting it is when they can graduate with a bilingual certification,
Absolutely.
whether it's in English and Spanish or Tiwa and Spanish, and it opens their mind up.
That's right. We have really had a concerted effort to expand those biliteracy seals for our students as they graduate high school, but it really starts from being at home and building that language. And then in school, we're able to support through our various language programs, whether you're in a dual language program or not. We want to make sure that all languages, that our students have access to many languages, and even beyond their home language. We want them to have that exposure. We've really invested in our Native American language instructors as well. This is a partnership that we do with New Mexico's tribes, pueblos, and nations. They designate their own language instructors. They do not have to be a certified teacher.
Right.
They don't have to go through an educator prep program. So they are certified as language instructors, and we have worked to make sure that they're paid on par with our licensed educators in the state, so that we have more opportunities. And this is particularly important with our Native American languages, as many of them are oral-based languages, and we want to make sure that we don't lose the many New Mexico languages that we have.
Yeah, that is an important initiative, and it kind of goes to the heart of the Martinez-Yazzie lawsuit, which held that New Mexico wasn't providing a sufficient education. But for Native children, if they aren't comfortable at school and uncomfortable in their cultural ways, they're not going to learn in English either. So respecting that oral tradition and the elders who know the language must make them feel a lot more welcome in the academic setting.
Absolutely. It's really important. New Mexico is such a unique state. As I meet with other state chiefs, my peers in other states, and we talk about, we're facing a lot of the same sort of challenges in terms of our education systems, but we have so much to celebrate in New Mexico. We're such a unique state. We have such incredible languages and cultures in this state that we really honor and celebrate, and we want to make sure continues to be a part of our educational experience for all of our students.
Yeah, that's a long way from the days when my classmates would be hit on their hands if they were speaking Spanish.
That was my dad's experience. His
Yep.
first language was Spanish. And when he entered into the school system, he did not speak English. And
Yep.
he was put in special education as a result. And he was disciplined for speaking his language. And so that's one generation prior to mine. And we're in a totally different place. My dad, as a result, I think, of his experiences and his love for education, became a teacher and was a bilingual educator and advocate. And so we've come a long way in this state in terms of how we approach language instruction and really celebrating and supporting these many languages that we have in the state. And to your point about keeping students engaged, we can't even get to any of the academic components if students don't show up to school, right? So making sure that we're engaging them, that they feel that their own identity is celebrated and recognized and honored is really important, not just for the student, but for the parents. If we want them engaged in their child's learning, if we want them to show up and to be there, we also have to make sure that they too see themselves within our education systems and that they feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's right. You don't go where you're not going to feel welcome.
Or where you weren't successful yourself as a student. And so we have to think about that as well. Many of our, my dad won, he was able to become successful in his education despite how he started. And his parents both had very limited education themselves, as well as his siblings. And so when adults don't have the best experiences within our education system, that can also then impact their approach as a parent and whether or not they feel comfortable in those settings.
Oh, that is so true. And on that note, we'll take a quick break and be back in a moment with more Conversations Different.
This is Patrick Dorsey, publisher of the Santa Fe New Mexican. Looking to reach a wider audience and grow your business? For 175 years, the Santa Fe New Mexican has been the trusted voice of Santa Fe, with unmatched local reach in print and online. In addition to our long-standing, independent, family-owned newspaper, we have a full-fledged marketing team with the expertise to help you succeed in the 21st century. From traditional print to precision targeted digital advertising, we have the tools to connect you with your ideal customers. Partner with us and see the results for yourself. Advertise with the Santa Fe New Mexican and unlock your business's full potential. Visit us at santaFeNewMexican.com/advertising or call us at 505-995-3852. Thank you.
We are back with Conversations Different, talking to Cabinet Secretary Mariana Padilla about summer reading and reading in general. One thing before we get back to summer reading, I want to just ask if you guys have had any discussions among yourselves just about reading with books versus on tech. There's a lot of discussion now about whether we went too far with Chromebooks because of not even the pandemic, but just because education was trying, to help children be engaged. Do kids in New Mexico schools read real books?
They do, and they should.
Yeah.
But we do utilize technology as well. And so, obviously this is something that we did as part of the COVID pandemic. We made sure that every student had a device so that they could have access to instruction. And so we've continued, not just in New Mexico, but really nationally on that trend to make sure that students have access to technology, not only during the school day, but at home to make sure that they can complete assignments. But in general, in schools, there's been a big shift to even how we communicate with families through student information systems, like EduPoint or PowerSchool. There's different platforms.
Right.
So a lot of the way we access assignments and learning is through technology. And I think there's positives to that, but it also can be a barrier for many families. So what we constantly promote is that we got to do all of the things. You can't just have a singular sort of approach in terms of the platform that you use. There, again, are many advantages to the use of technology, but it cannot be the only method for instruction. And even for me as a parent, I have three children in public schools today. There are many times where I'm like, can you just send me a piece of paper so that we're on the same page, even though I'm constantly getting my push notifications from PowerSchool, which is the student information system used in the district where I'm at currently, where I can see everything. And I appreciate that, but there are times where I wish that there were other methods. And for some parents, that just isn't even an option. So
no, that makes sense. Yeah, we had the Wednesday envelope, and it was just a big brown envelope, and all the stuff was inside of it. And if you were lucky, your kid didn't forget it, and you could sign your notes and send it back. And it seemed very efficient. When I think about technology, I think it's just ironic that the people who invented it don't let their kids use it as much. And I wonder if that's a warning for the rest of us to maybe return a little bit to the old way of doing things.
Yes. We have worked to pass legislation to limit cell phone use in schools.
Right.
The first legislation we passed in 2025 was intended to have a ban on cell phones. At the end of the session, the legislature modified that bill to just require districts and charters to establish cell phone policies to limit use during instruction time. The implementation of that legislation is very broad. It's varied. I can tell you, even in my own children's school district, that it is loosely implemented and enforced. Well, it's all localized, right? They have their own local decisions about that. This last session, we had another cell phone bill to do a bell to bell. So start a school day bell to end a school day bell ban on cell phones. And we're going to help pay for infrastructure for storage of those phones, whether it's in lockers or pouches. This is a trend that we're seeing nationally to really make sure that students are not distracted by their cell phones and on social media. There are so many social emotional sort of benefits to it, as well as academic benefits. The legislature also passed a bill to study the impacts of screen time. And so this is something that I think many people are very interested in looking at. We need to have a balance. Technology is really important to be in this world, to be proficient in pretty much any field you're in. You have to have certain level of proficiency with the use of technology. You have to be critical thinkers in terms of the information that you're getting through social media or other forms of receiving information. So we need to, I think, in many ways, teach our children how to use technology responsibly, how to be critical thinkers in terms of what is sent to you. Just because you see it on TikTok doesn't mean it's true. Conversation I have with my own kids. These are all important skills that I think schools can play a role in helping students develop those skills, as well as it just being an instructional tool.
Man, you guys have so much to do. I mean, it used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now it's reading, writing, and arithmetic.
And so much more. And everything in between, including, just removing many of the barriers that our students show up to school with, whether it's food insecurity or housing insecurity or, other challenges, economic challenges, mental health challenges. These are all things that we work in schools to address. So it isn't just the core sort of academic piece. These are the things that we think about when we're building our schools, our school settings, and that we're also preparing our educators to be able to support students.
No, that's so important because you can't learn if you're hungry or if you have a toothache. And a lot of kids have toothaches, which they don't ever catch. So they're sitting there and there's all these underlying conditions that don't show up on tests.
That's right. And that's why we have free meals in the state of New Mexico.
Yep.
Governor Lujan Grisham has had a really incredible impact on education, on early childhood, on higher ed with free college, free universal childcare, free pre-K, all of these things where we think about how do we create systems that support children and families. And that's what we've been really focused on, is creating systems that support our children and families. It's an imperative for us as a state if we're really going to transform our education to get the outcomes that we want for students. And something like free universal meals is a piece of that. And what we're really working on right now is improving the quality, really promoting and funding scratch cooking, locally sourced products. Food products in the state. All of these things are really important, that it's not just free, but that it's a high quality meal and that it tastes good and something that our students are going to actually eat.
Oh, that's going to be important because everyone remembers lunch meals. So how do people sign up for reading programs? If you're a parent, where do I go to get my kid enrolled and participating?
So we have a website, and it is www.literacy.nm.gov. And on this website, parents, grandparents, whoever is the guardian can go on and enroll their child, again, pre-K through 8th grade, on the website. So if you can enroll multiple kids, you can enroll one child. Through that enrollment, you can see what program sites we have. So far, we have about 160 program sites around the state. You can search by your zip code, and you can identify and select which programs that you're interested in. There's information about the program, not only the location, but if it's a full day or half day program. So we've worked to make it as simple as possible. Once you've enrolled your child, then you will get updates from us regarding as we finalize the placement of students at various program sites.
What percentage of kids are participating in this, taking advantage of it?
So we work to enroll 15,000 students every summer in this program. We enroll that many students or more. Last summer, we enrolled over 17,000 students. The problem is they don't always all show up. Another challenge that we have is good attendance. Just like during the academic year, we need students to actually have strong attendance and also completion of program. So we ask families to really show up and commit to those 4 weeks. The program is typically 4 weeks long. And to make sure that there's good attendance. Otherwise, we really don't see the growth that we would otherwise. Our younger students in the program tend to have much better attendance and completion rates. Our middle school students, we are working on to really better improve that. This summer, we have a curriculum that is very focused on those middle school ages. So hopefully that will help. And we're also looking at some incentive programs that we're going to try and roll out this summer to better encourage that attendance and completion rates.
All right. Yep. They need a dance at the end of the 4 weeks or something.
Yeah, that's right.
On that note, this has been another Conversations Different. We thank you so much for your time, Secretary Padilla, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Conversations Different, hosted by me, Inez Russell Gomez, editorial page editor for the Santa Fe New Mexican. Our weekly episodes would not be possible without your support. We hope you enjoy them and keep listening. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Consider signing up for our newsletter so you never miss an episode, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the Santa Fe New Mexican. Our podcast is available by visiting our website, santafenewmexican.com/podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Conversations Different with Inez Russell Gomez is produced by Matt Dalside and Ernesto Cisneros, published by the Santa Fe New Mexican, a local and independent newspaper owned by Robin Martin.